Alright guys, we're going to do another one here on curing of tobaccos and how that then affects how the tobacco smokes. Hopefully I have enough light here that you can see me. So curing tobaccos, this is just going to be some general information. I can't say that I know a whole lot. Oh, that's disgusting. Hang on, gotta show you this. Just killed a mosquito on my leg. Looks like the little bugger already got some of my blood. Awesome. So, yeah, just some general information about curing of tobaccos and what that means. I'm, again, not an expert, just found out some interesting information. In fact, I would really suggest, and I meant to say this in the last video, going to the tobaccoseed.com if you haven't visited there. I'll put a link somewhere, maybe here, or here if I point it off screen. But one of the interesting things about Latakia, I had said in a previous video that it will usually burn with a higher pH, a more basic pH. Well, it's because Latakia is flame cured or fire cured, or however you want to say that, but it's cured over an open fire. And that was first done by, it was kind of found out by accident by people, I believe, in Turkey, who had excess tobacco from 1 year, and they weren't able to get it all cured before winter time, and they stored it up in the rafters of their house. And they had stoves going or whatnot going on inside the area that they had stored the tobacco in the rafters, and smoke had been pouring over, wood smoke had been pouring over the tobacco. And the next year, when they had found out, well, this is pretty dry now, we can smoke this, it had that peppery, smoky taste that we all kind of describe as a campfire or things like that. And it makes complete sense that that would burn with a higher pH, because wood ash, or as fire burns, the ashes, if you dissolve them in water, give you a basic solution. It does increase the pH. So that makes sense that would have it from that way. Other ways of curing things, that would be a fermentation cure. There's probably a more common name for that type of curing process. I'm kind of blanking on it right now, but it's when you pile heaps of tobacco together on top of each other and let it cure in that way. Kind of a sweat cure, I think, is another way that it's called. And that's what's done a lot of the times with the Virginia style tobacco, because it brings out that natural sweetness from the fermentation. But what it also does through the byproducts of fermentation is lower the pH in that tobacco. And that's why Virginias will usually smoke with a lower pH of about 4.5 or so. So I found that pretty cool. Another, good gosh, mosquitoes are out. Another interesting common tobacco is Burleys. Burleys a lot of times will smoke pH right at 7, which would be neutral. And again, it's one of those things that kind of like, oh yeah, I don't hear people complain about tongue bite from Burleys too much. Well, if there's not a lot of extra additives to it, then the Burleys would smoke at a pretty neutral pH and wouldn't have a problem with chemical burns. But there's other ways of curing. There's just air curing that's going to affect the tobacco very little. That's where it would be hung up in a dry, cool place, so away from a lot of light, because a separate way would be sun curing. Sun curing is what would give the more blonde or bright colored Virginias and would indeed give a different flavor than those cured, just simple air curing. So there's just some thoughts on curing, a little bit of information on how that might affect the tobacco smoke, and then of course it's going to affect the flavors quite a bit. So those are things that may interest, if you are dealing with tongue bite a lot, may interest you in finding out from the blender the particular tobacco you're smoking. And these are, of course, things that are probably going to be affecting you from higher quality tobaccos. The lower quality tobaccos, the drugstore blends, not that there's anything wrong with them. I'm not here to bash those or anything by any means. But there are going to be a lot more additives and preservatives in those. And those kind of things can cause irritation on your tongue. Excuse me, that you're not going to get from a higher quality blend. A little breezy. So anyway, thanks for joining me on these scientific vids thus far. I hope you're able to sit down and enjoy a bowl. I know these have gotten a little lengthy, but I hope they're informative. And if anybody has any other questions, feel free to comment or PM me. I'm always happy to explain things in further detail. I'm going to try to get on and spend a little more time on Skype. I know I've missed Vaps and Tobacco Row recently. Stormwolf will have to get you on Skype too, and it'd be fun just to chat with you. Anyway, it's getting dark, and I'd actually want to make one more video on a topic, so we'll catch you guys next time.